If there's one thing I love, it's finding fictional stories written by other people, reading them out loud directly into a microphone, and compiling it into a video for someone's viewing pleasure. It's up there with beating my head against a nearby wall and sticking a toothpick under my big toenail and kicking something as hard as possible. Today, we've got two stories that feature lovely topics such as bodily functions and dishonest behavior revolving around special needs people, the finest points of any piece of narrative gold that can be found on an image board. If you click this video, you're likely hoping to hear something shocking and humorous, and I'm more than happy to oblige. The first story is about some school bus hijinks. This should take you right back to your childhood if it was grotesque and depraved. So, without further ado, let's get right into it. Be me, 7th grade kid in elementary school. Ride bus to school every day from and to the country into the city for school. 1 hour bus ride each way. One of the last kids to be dropped off after school. Boring as fuck. Bus seating, generally arranged in a hierarchy with youngest grades at the front starting with grade 1 and oldest at the back. Kids at back of bus usually super rowdy, bullies, etc. Holy shit. I am in the oldest grade on the bus this year. Proceed to claim backseat like a boss. Friends in my grade doing the same or in second last of the back seat. Daily, I create mischief to entertain myself with a long bus ride home. Micro Sam, 1 grade younger than me, really small for his age. I come up with an idea. Sam, crawl into the seats of the bus and quietly steal kids' backpacks and bring them back here. He is tiny. He slithers under the bus seat like some kind of micro ferret. He successfully sneaks backpacks from kids on both sides of the bus. Backpack pile amassing in a seat near the back. As kids are dropped off, they panic. Bags are missing. Bus driver does not believe them, says they must have left it at school. Forces them to get off the bus without their bag. Keks are had. Dare another kid on the bus, James, same grade as me, super ADHD, to start dropping the bags out a window so the bus driver won't find them later. He does it. Do this a few times over a couple weeks. Not entertaining enough anymore. Normal friend Chris has a retarded older brother, retarded Steve, who rides the bus with us, held back several grades. Everyone treats retarded Steve with respect out of respect for Chris. Retarded Steve sits sort of in the middle of the bus and we don't really interact with him much anyways. Chris doesn't show up to school for a few days. Chris is sick with the mono. He will be gone for a while. Bored as fuck on hot bus ride home one day. Ask retarded Steve to come sit near the back of the bus so we can talk to him. Retarded Steve is obsessed with a TV show Home Improvement, constantly trying to imitate Tim Allen grunt noise, whatever the fuck you call it. He is farting all the time and it smells disgusting. Open windows to vent the stench. Still bored. Command Micro Sam to collect backpacks for my amusement. The last time he collected them, the week before, we did stuff like swap the contents between bags, then Micro Sam would troll back under the seats and put the bags back. Don't even understand to this day how no one ever noticed him doing this. Micro Sam appears from under the seat, dragging a lunch bag. I took this out of a bag. I don't know why he decided to extract the lunch bag, I think to prove how stealthy he is. It's a standard lunch bag, purple, the kind that is soft and sort of in the shape of a triangle that closes at the top with Velcro. Get an idea. Dare retarded Steve to shit in the lunch bag. He doesn't understand at first. Explain to him, drop pants and shit into the lunch bag. He understands, but is reluctant. Me and Sam begin pressuring him. Tell him we do it all the time. Can tell he has to shit from the constant farting. He decides to do it. Oh my fucking god, yes.dll.zip.exe. He pulls his pants down and puts his feet sort of up on the seat in front of him. Micro Sam hands him the open lunch bag. Retarded Steve holds it up to his ass and lets it rip. The shit explodes into the bag, propelled by tons of gas. Jesus fuck the smell.bat. Laughing so hard I am crying. Micro Sam is laughing so hard his laughter is silent. Look at the bus driver. She didn't hear. Bus is still loud as fuck from all the kids. Look at retarded Steve. He is putting the lunch bag on the floor under his seat and pulling his pants back up. Look at the lunch bag. Somehow all of the shit went into the bag, completely shit-free on the outside. It's a school bus miracle. Tell retarded Steve to close it and give it to Micro Sam. Retarded Steve hands the bag across the aisle. Look at Micro Sam. He is disgusted by the smell. I can tell by the look in his eyes that he knows what I'm going to say next. Sam, you have to put that lunch bag back in the bag you got it from. He smiles with sadistic agreement. Micro Sam gets onto the floor and begins carefully maneuvering the shit bag under the seat with him for the journey towards the front of the bus. Bus is speeding down a straight highway just outside the city. The bus driver actually speeds on the highways every day. She is a terrible and scary driver. It happens. Some random dog or something runs out onto the road, not actually clear on what it was, some kind of largish brown animal, might have been a deer actually. Bus driver slams on the brakes, bus comes to a complete stop. Hear a loud yell come from about the middle of the bus, almost a scream. It's Micro Sam. Hear loud crying, more yelling. Micro Sam, while delivering the retard shit bag, got thrown forwards under the seats. His body squished the bag. He is covered in shit. He is screaming and crying, pulling his way from under a seat into the aisle. He begins vomiting into the aisle. The shit went into his mouth, nose, probably eyes. Micro Sam fucked his neck up, hit it against one of the seat pillars. Bus driver freaks the fuck out, unbuckles her seat and stands up yelling, "What is going on?" over and over. Bus driver sees shit-covered, vomiting, injured Micro Sam in the aisle, crying and screaming. Retarded Steve begins freaking out. I am afraid of retarded Steve. He is prone to violent outbursts and has incredible retard strength. I've seen him knock out a kid while waiting for the bus. Thankfully, retarded Steve just begins moaning loudly and bashing his head into the seat in front of him. Bus driver calls 911. We wait. Stench is overwhelming on the hot bus. No air moving through the windows anymore due to the bus movement. Bus driver approaches Micro Sam to help him, then backs away from him as she realizes there is shit all over him and the floor. Micro Sam is sobbing in a huge puddle of his vomit and retard shit. Other kids begin puking from the smell. Total chaos. An ambulance comes and extracts Micro Sam. His neck is actually broken. Medics strap him to the stretcher thing and drive away. Parents are arriving on the highway to get their kids. My parents ask me what happens when they arrive. Ask what happened to Micro Sam. He used to come over sometimes to play video games. Say I have no idea what happened. Play dumb. I'm freaking out internally. Principal makes announcement at the morning assembly about the incident. Says to pray for Micro Sam. There's going to be an investigation. ohfuck.jpeg.rar. There are cameras on the school buses in our city. We all thought they were fake though, and just to scare us. They look like a black box with a dark plastic circle in the center. Turns out they actually have a camera in them. Next week at school, get called to the principal's office. There is a fucking police officer there with my principal. They have a TV on a wheel cart. The officer puts a VHS tape into the VCR on the lower rack. Holy fuck. See me and Micro Sam at the back of the bus. See retarded Steve go to the back of the bus. There is no sound, just black and white video. See Micro Sam hand a lunch bag to retarded Steve. A while later, retarded Steve hands it back across the aisle. About a minute later, see the shit spray out from under a seat on the right. Shortly after, Micro Sam is clawing his way into the aisle, begins vomiting. Principal and police officer begin demanding answers and explanations. I blame everything on retarded Steve. Say it is not the first time he has shit on the bus into some kind of bag. Have no explanation how Micro Sam suddenly appears halfway up the bus, on the ground, brutally injured and covered in retard shit. Say he must have rolled under the seats when the bus braked because he is so small. It doesn't make sense at hotmail.org. Begin bawling my eyes out, inconsolable. Principal gets uncomfortable, asks officer to leave, tells me it's okay. Gets sent home, parents are called to pick me up. Never see Micro Sam again in my life. He never comes back to school. His neck is permanently fucked up or something. Retarded Steve gets sent to a special school somewhere else. Never see him again either. Still laugh every time I remember the retard shitbag bus incident of grade 7. That was quite the doozy of a story. I'm sure you could tell, but I enjoyed that one quite a bit. But I digress. It's time for us to move on to the next story. I don't know how many people are aware of this, but I'm a fan of mafia content. I enjoy mobster films and stories. They're some of the best in my opinion. This next Greentext is right up there. We had one in middle school. Huge, semi-intelligent tard. We named him Don, as a mafia boss. We pretended to be his henchman. I was the Don's mouth. I had to push him for a list of names each month. We had to beat the shit out of anyone on that list. Downey eventually gets into the part, starts coming to school with a red rose in his pocket and starts picking up a Sicilian accent. One week, he insisted we had to put one of the teachers on the list. We refuse and say no. Gets visibly angry and starts calling us not good. He rises, picks up a chair, and goes looking for the teacher. Teacher steps into class in that moment. Don takes the chair and starts whacking the teacher with the chair. I almost passed out of laughters. Janitors come, Don gets suspended. Teacher finds list. Friend gets framed and suspended as well. Don returns to school 1 week later. Kiss his hand saying, "Welcome back, Don." Got more if interested. Thank you, gentlemen. Don is back. Apparently had a few sessions with a school therapist for Downies. Therapist had brainwashed him into thinking that whacking people with a chair was not okay. Don, we need a new list. No list. But Don, no. Eventually managed to convince him that the therapist told him so because he was actually afraid of him. To better get the message through his head, I showed him a few Dragon Ball Z AMVs. You know, the ones with the Linkin Park songs. Don finally reawakes. He is all jacked up and pumped because of my AMVs. Classmate that got suspended threatens to snitch. Hey Don, one of your men has betrayed us. Don says nothing. Don, what do we do? Don still says nothing, but I see his leg shaking. Don, no later. We get out of school, lose sight of him. Suddenly I hear people screaming. Apparently Don had charged like a fucking rhino through the crowd against the snitch, tripping him over the stairs. Snitch gets up and slaps Don as hardest as he can. Oh shit on JPEG. Don starts screeching like a T-Rex. He wants to kill the snitch now. Long story short, a local policeman passes by. He gets the idea that the snitch is bullying Don. Snitch gets another suspension, eventually changes school. He still doesn't know it was my fault all along. Other kids are now legitimately scared of the Don. Now kids from other classes wants to be among his men. We even had some kind of made man ritual, where the Don had to decide if the new member is worthy. Me and Don ended up sharing the same desk for the rest of the year. More? One more, and keep the U's rolling. Towards end of second semester, Don now has at least 40 made men. We even have a secret gesture. Has developed a real addiction to Dragon Ball's AMVs. Is now convinced he's some kind of mafioso Super Saiyan. Thanks to my charisma, I am now the Don's official consigliere. Parents super happy that Don has so many friends. They frequently invite me and a few other trusted made men home. The list thing has been abandoned now that the whole school knows about us. The Don now has a social life, friends, and frequent power trips, courtesy of Dragon Ball AMVs. He goes to an afternoon school for Downies. He even has a Downy GF. He treats her like his gun mall or something. One Downy at the afternoon school is obviously not okay with the Don's success. Of course, it's not long before a new list gets issued and the rival Tard's name appears in that list. As his trusted consigliere, I tell him to stay calm and await the right time for vengeance. One afternoon, we get some kind of bullshit integration course about tolerance and diversity. The enemy Downy is the speaker. The Don is fucking fuming right now. We try to calm him down and avoid another rhino rage by feeding him Mars bars. Meanwhile, enemy Downy has ended his speech. The Don's gun mall is there as well. Downy gets close and kisses the Don's woman. Oh shit on JPEG. The Don freezes while parts of Mars drool out of his mouth. He pushes me down and Rhino charges the Downy. Stabs him in the leg with a fucking Bic pin. Janitors are all out and forced to stop the Don. Eventually I call the parents. The Don's gun mall is now viciously changed sides. She slaps the Don and starts sucking the Downy's open wound. Really? Don now faces risk of getting expelled. Therapist puts him on meds and mentions bad influences to his mother. I get a special mention for being friends with him as an example of tolerance, blah blah blah. Eventually, the Don is not suspended. Thanks to our insistence, we even get the school's director to keep him, leveraging on pity and shit. The Don returns. He is visibly changed, less responsive. Don, what's wrong? Don, school. I like school. He was drawing a house with flowers the whole time. The Don keeps his head low for a few days. His mom invites me to his place one day. Apparently, she is still oblivious to our little club. I find a bottle of pills on the kitchen's table. Apparently, they got the fucker on Xanax. Report to the other made men to decide how to proceed with the Don out of the games. One of the made men agrees to replace the Xanax with vitamin B. We get ourselves invited to the Don's place once more to complete the ordeal. A few days pass, the Don is slowly returning among us. Parents keep stuffing his face with pills. The fools were merely making the Don stronger. The Don has obviously not taken too well to his gun mall's betrayal and the other Downy sending him into therapy. Demands his men take care of both Downies. Don, we have a new one who wants to become a made man. Who? A scrawny kid comes forward, advancing towards the Don. No, he is not good. But Don, he will make anything for you. Don goes silent, then starts laughing. Yes, yes! As consigliere, I demand the newcomer to show his worth to be admitted into the family by becoming the Don's bodyguard for a whole week, which means he had to buy him Mars, download him Dragon Ball related stuff, and overall please the Don's demands for material goods. The Don is now back in full force, jacked up with vitamin B, Linkin Park songs, and hatred. Parents still think he's on Xanax, so they start sending him to the Tard school again. Scrawny Kid is forced to go with him. Afternoon Tard Wranglers arrange some kind of social game for Tards where they have to guess a thing while blindfolded. The Don gets a seat right next to his archenemy. Wranglers want them to make peace. Here it goes, lads. So, the Don is face to face with his archenemy. Game goes well for a while. Apparently both the Don and his nemesis are doing just fine. Until it's time for the Don to guess while blindfolded. Arch-nemesis thinks it's obviously a good idea to slap him in the back of the head. It is not. The Don flips his desk, and before he can find enough momentum to Rhino charge his enemy, he gets the Wranglers on his ass. Wranglers call parents once more. Scrawny Kid testifies for the Don saying he was provoked. The Don goes off unpunished once more. Scrawny Kid is made honorary made man on the spot. Later, we had summer's holidays. We spent a lot of time with the Don, basically spending the better part of July teaching him how to properly behave and talk like a powerful boss. He even got a gold ring from us made men, he never got the ring off his finger, for his birthday. It got to the point that by December, he had very little speech impediment and was well ahead of his own Downy peers in math. We did more in 2 months than years of useless paid tutors. His parents even got him off Xanax. And then, September came. school was open once more. By September, the Dawn, now with a fresh new golden ring and more intelligence points, was a force to be reckoned with. Our little society grew to 50+ members, all of them abiding by the rule of silence, under the ruthless fist of the Dawn. Every month we had the list, and one of the janitors was consistently into it. Now it was mostly about bullying other kids until they came to the Don to pay him respects by kissing his ring, and we made sure they meaned it. Apparently the Don realized that his condition came with an almost total impunity for his nefarious deeds, but now he rarely got his hands dirty, except for the aforementioned janitor. He fucking hated him for reasons I never understood. Now, there is this gypsy kid outside of our school. Usually does gypsy shit, such as begging, stealing stuff, or scratching cars with coins when he is bored. Sometimes with a few other fellow gypsies. Usually giggles and points his brown finger at the Don whenever he gets out of school. The Don obviously doesn't like this. Not even one bit. Sometime as trusted consigliere, I advise him to stay calm until we can find a solution to the problem. We can't exactly risk the Don getting stabbed by a gypsy by taking him on directly, and besides, that's what made men are for. Now, one of our oldest recruits was a blonde, stocky kid. We used to call him the Lemon. You see, the Lemon was a good guy, but he was bipolar, which means he could snap any second and fucking murder you with the first thing he had on his hand. I knew about it, since the first time we had heard about the Lemon was at a birthday party, where he tried to stab the host with a plastic cake knife. Knife broke, so he tried to strangle his victim with his bare hands. Or that one time he fended off 3 older bullies with a washing pole and beating one of them so hard he had to be hospitalized with 3 broken ribs and one of his front teeth gone. I had recommended him personally to the Don. We made sure he got welcomed by all the members of society, which in turn made me earn the Lemon's undying and eternal loyalty, since he didn't exactly have any friends before meeting us. Now, the plan birthed by my 12-year-old mind was simple. We just needed to show up in force to the gypsy after school, be reasonable, and tell him to stop. And since I was the most persuading one, it was my turn to go in person. I want to come. No, Don, we can do this. Don't worry. Just, I want to come. Of course, you don't get to disobey the Don. So 6 of us plus the Don were supposed to show up in front of the gypsy to talk to him. And boy, if it was a mistake. We basically show up in the front of the gypsy. Listen, bro, you have offended my friend here. You can't do that. Gypsy stares at the Don, then starts laughing and tells us to fuck off. Bro, listen, my friend here. Gypsy takes an empty can and throws it against us. He hits the Lemon on the cheek. Holy motherfuck, here we go.jpg. The Lemon starts screaming like a banshee, and screaming, then kicks the gypsy in his leg. Gypsy falls down. The Lemon starts pummeling the poor bastard, then gets up, grabs the kicking and screaming gypsy by his shirt and rams his fucking head into a car door. The gypsies scream and attract a couple of his allies nearby. It's 2 grown-up gypsies. I am about to shit myself. Other made men trying to prevent the Lemon from killing his victim. Meanwhile, the fucking Don is laughing like a maniac, jumping around like he is possessed. Yes, yes, kill him, kill him! One of the little gypsy's allies immediately charge at the Lemon and the made men. One of them pushes the Don aside in the process. The Don stops laughing, while I wonder how many years in jail I'm going to get for this. By now, it's basically 2 adult gypsies versus 5 kids, the Lemon and now a fuming Don. The Don Rhino charges one of the adults to glory. Gypsy falls to the ground with the Don on top of him. The other gypsy standing is now against the other 4 made men, starts screaming for help. Nearby shopkeeper steps in and breaks the fight. The gypsies all get arrested. We are called in to testify the next day. We made it sound like the gypsies had attacked a Down syndrome and a bipolar kid, so we stepped in to protect them. 2 adults get 5 years of jail each. Young gypsy gets sent to juvenile. We even make it in the local newspaper. Local Romanian gang attacks and injures mentally handicapped kids. 3 arrests. The locals go apeshit and set the gypsy camp on fire. And since we are close to elections, the mayor sends the cops to clear the camp and kick the gyppos out a week later, citing security concerns. Shopkeeper now becomes our best bro. He always gives us gummy bears for free. The whole school now hails us as heroes. The Don gets fucking clapped during his entrance in class the day after. The Lemon goes from weird misfit to troubled hero and protector of the innocents. Voices about the Don's last fight start circulating around the school. Now kids from first year are fucking terrified of the Don. As his trusted consigliere, I make sure none of the smaller kids get to challenge the Don's hegemony. I wish I could continue, gentlemen, but my time is running out. Might continue the Don saga when I have time. Last year of middle school turned out to be a very interesting one. Maybe some good anon might screen cap part 2 so I can continue when I'll have time. But unfortunately, I couldn't find anything else regarding the continuation of this story, so I guess we're gonna have to stop here. I hope these awful tales brought you some kind of comfort. These types of stories always make me feel warm and fuzzy inside. Sure, these stories were disparaging a lot of people, but it's the internet. You can't take this stuff too seriously. But I digress. I guess that's going to be it for today's video. If you like what I do, leave a comment, rate, and subscribe. If you want to support me in a more personal way, you can check out the Patreon link and the Teespring link in the description. I've also got a Newgrounds account where I occasionally post cropped versions of artwork from thumbnails and live streams. I've got more content coming down the pipeline. But until then, I'll see you degenerates next time.